chosen ones, why you can't share these 5 spiritual secrets with anyone. Have you ever experienced something so profound, so life-changing, that you couldn't even put it into words? Maybe it was a moment of clarity, a spiritual awakening, or a deep realization that shifted the very fabric of your being. And in that moment you thought, I need to tell someone about this. They need to understand what I've just seen. But when you tried, the words didn't come out right, or worse, they dismissed you, looked at you with confusion, or even laughed. That's when it hit you: not everyone is ready to hear this. This is the reality for chosen ones. There are spiritual secrets you come to know, secrets that change the way you see yourself, others, and the world. But these aren't secrets you can share with just anyone. In fact, some of them you may never be able to share at all. Why? Because these truths are not meant for everyone. They are sacred, and more importantly, they require a certain level of awareness, readiness, and resonance to be understood. To those who are not ready, these secrets might sound like nonsense, or worse, they could trigger fear, judgment, or resistance. Before we dive into the 5 secrets, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like you were living in a completely different reality than the people around you? Like you're tuned into a frequency that others can't hear? This isn't your imagination, it's part of what makes you a chosen one. You've been awakened to a deeper level of existence, and with that awakening comes responsibility. The responsibility to protect these truths, to honor their sacredness, and to share them only when the time is right. The first secret you can't share is this: life is an illusion. This isn't just some philosophical idea, it's a direct experience that hits you like a lightning bolt when you truly awaken. You begin to see that the world you've been taught to believe in, the one based on material success, external validation, and societal rules, is a construct. It's like a play, with everyone acting out roles they've been assigned without ever questioning who they really are. When this realization dawns on you, it's liberating and terrifying all at once. You see that you are not the character you've been playing. You're the observer, the consciousness behind it all. But here's the thing: try telling this to someone who's still deeply invested in the illusion, and they'll likely think you've lost your mind. Why? Because their reality is built on the very illusion you've transcended. To question it feels like a threat to their entire existence. That's why this secret isn't meant to be shared, it's meant to be lived. When you embody this truth, others who are ready will begin to sense it, and they'll come to their own awakening in their own time.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
The second secret you can't share is that time isn't real. This one is especially challenging because our entire society is structured around the concept of time, deadlines, schedules, aging, the past, the future. But when you awaken, you begin to experience time differently. You realize that the past and future are constructs of the mind, and the only thing that truly exists is the present moment. This isn't just a mental understanding, it's something you feel in your body, in your soul. You start to notice how much of your suffering comes from living in the past or worrying about the future. And when you anchor yourself in the now, that suffering begins to dissolve. But try explaining this to someone who's constantly rushing from one task to the next, and they'll look at you like you're speaking another language. They might even get defensive, because the idea of time being an illusion challenges the very foundation of their reality. So instead of trying to convince anyone, live this truth. Be present. Show others, through your calmness and groundedness, what it means to live outside the prison of time. Your example will speak louder than any words ever could. The third secret is perhaps the hardest to keep. Everything is connected. This is a truth that chosen ones feel in their bones. You see it in nature, in relationships, in the way events unfold in your life. Everything is part of the same infinite web of energy, and nothing exists in isolation. But here's the paradox: while this truth is universal, not everyone is ready to embrace it. Why? Because to truly understand this connection, you have to let go of the ego, the part of you that believes you're separate, special, or somehow above others. For many people, this is terrifying. The ego thrives on separation, on the idea of me versus them. When you try to explain to someone that their actions ripple out and affect the whole, or that the boundaries they've drawn between themselves and others are illusions, they may resist. They may even feel threatened because their sense of identity is tied to their separateness. Instead of explaining this secret, live it. Treat others with kindness and compassion, knowing that what you do to them, you do to yourself. Honor the earth, knowing that its well-being is tied to your own. Over time, your actions will spark curiosity in others, and they'll begin to sense the connection for themselves. Now, let me ask you something that might challenge you deeply. How do you decide who is ready to know these truths? How do you discern when to speak and when to remain silent? This is part of your journey as a chosen one, learning to trust your intuition, to sense when someone is ready to receive a glimpse of the sacred, and when it's best to simply hold the space for them to discover it on their own. The sacred truths that awaken the soul but can't be spoken. There's a reason why some truths can't be spoken. They are too vast, too sacred to be confined to words. Words are limited, and these truths exist beyond the boundaries of language. As a chosen one, you felt it that moment when you try to explain something profound, only to realize that the words fall short. It's not because the truth is hidden, it's because it's so expansive that it can only be experienced, not described. The fourth secret you can't share is this: your external reality is a reflection of your inner world. This truth is so transformative, yet it's one of the hardest for people to grasp. Why? Because it forces us to take radical responsibility for our lives. It means that the chaos, the conflicts, the struggles we see around us are not random, they're mirrors of what's happening within us. This is a hard pill to swallow for most people. It's much easier to blame others, to see circumstances as unfair, or to believe that life is happening to us rather than through us. But when you awaken, you begin to see the patterns. You notice how your inner state, your thoughts, emotions, beliefs shapes the reality you experience. When you're filled with fear, doubt, or resentment, the world feels heavy and hostile. But when you cultivate peace, gratitude, and love within yourself, that's exactly what you start to see reflected back at you. Now, imagine trying to explain this to someone who's deep in victim consciousness. They'll resist it. They might even get angry because this truth challenges their entire worldview. It requires them to look inward, to confront their own shadows, and to accept that they have the power to change their reality, not by controlling the outside world, but by transforming their inner world. What do you do with this truth? You live it. You practice it. Instead of trying to convince others, you show them through your own life. When someone sees you navigating challenges with grace, when they notice how your energy seems to shift the atmosphere around you, they'll start to wonder. They'll ask questions, and that's when they'll be ready to hear, not because you told them, but because they've seen the truth in action. But let me ask you, what does your current reality say about your inner world? Are there patterns, relationships, or situations that feel stuck? What might they be reflecting back to you about your thoughts, emotions, or beliefs? This isn't about self-blame, it's about self-awareness. When you become conscious of the connection between your inner and outer worlds, you reclaim your power to create the life you truly desire. The fifth and final secret is one that feels almost impossible to put into words. You are the universe experiencing itself. This isn't just a poetic metaphor, it's a direct realization that shatters the illusion of separation. You are not a small, isolated being living in a vast universe. You are the universe expressing itself through the unique lens of your existence. The stars, the trees, the oceans, the people around you, they're not separate from you. They're extensions of the same infinite consciousness that you are. When this realization hits you, it changes everything. You no longer feel the need to prove yourself or compete with others because you see that there's no other to compete with. You no longer cling to material possessions or external achievements because you understand that everything you could ever want is already within you. And most importantly, you begin to live from a place of unity, love, and deep reverence for all life. But here's why this truth can't be shared with everyone. Most people are not ready to let go of their ego. The ego thrives on separation. It needs the illusion of me and them to survive. To tell someone who's deeply identified with their ego that they are the universe can feel like telling them they don't exist. It's too much, too soon. So, how do you embody this truth without forcing it on others? Start by seeing the divine in everything. When you interact with someone, recognize that they are a reflection of the same infinite consciousness that you are. When you look at nature, see it as an extension of yourself. When you face challenges, remember that they too are part of the universal dance, pushing you toward growth and awakening. And here's the most beautiful part: when you live from this truth, you don't need to say a word. People will feel it in your presence. They'll sense the peace, the love, the unity radiating from you, even if they don't fully understand it. And in their own time, they'll begin to awaken to the same truth, not because you told them, but because you showed them. Now, let me ask you something that goes straight to the heart of this secret. If you truly believed that you are the universe, how would you live differently? What fears would you let go of? What dreams would you pursue, knowing that the entire cosmos is flowing through you? These two secrets, the reflection of your inner world and your unity with the universe, are the most sacred of all. They hold the power to transform not just your life, but the lives of everyone you touch. But they can't be forced or rushed. They must unfold naturally, like a flower blooming in its own time. Walking the path, the responsibility of a chosen one. When you awaken to deeper truths that most people cannot see, it's not just a gift, it's a responsibility. You've been chosen, not because you're better or more special than anyone else, but because you're ready to carry the weight of these truths, ready to live them, and ready to honor them without expecting recognition or applause. Walking the path of a chosen one is not about superiority, it's about service. It's about embodying these sacred secrets and letting your life be an example, a quiet invitation for others to awaken in their own time. But here's the thing: this path isn't easy. It's one thing to awaken to the truth, it's another to live it fully in a world that often resists it. You'll face challenges, misunderstandings, and even isolation. Yet these difficulties are part of the initiation. They're not here to break you, they're here to refine you, to deepen your connection to the truths you've come to know. One of the greatest responsibilities of a chosen one is discernment. Not everyone is ready to hear what you've discovered. In fact, sharing these secrets prematurely can do more harm than good. Imagine trying to explain the vastness of the ocean to someone who's only ever seen a puddle. They won't understand, and worse, they might dismiss or ridicule what you're saying because their current perspective can't hold the depth of your truth. This is why silence can sometimes be more powerful than words. When you feel the urge to share, ask yourself, is this person truly ready to hear this? It's not about withholding information or feeling superior, it's about honoring the sacredness of these truths and respecting the journey of others. Everyone awakens in their own time, and forcing someone to see what they're not ready for can create resistance instead of growth. But discernment doesn't mean hiding who you are. It means living authentically, allowing your actions, your presence, and your energy to speak for you. When you embody these truths, people will feel it. They'll notice the calmness in your demeanor, the wisdom in your choices, and the love in your interactions. They might not understand it at first, but something in them will recognize it. And when they're ready, they'll come to you not because you pushed them, but because they were drawn to the light you carry. Let me ask you something. How often do you feel the need to explain yourself or prove your perspective to others? What would happen if you let go of that need and simply trusted that your truth is enough? This is one of the most profound lessons of the chosen one's path. You don't need to convince anyone. Your existence, your alignment, and your peace are the greatest testimony to the truths you've discovered. Another responsibility of a chosen one is humility. It's easy to fall into the trap of ego, especially when you've awakened to truths that others have yet to see. But remember, the path of awakening is not about elevating yourself above others. It's about recognizing that we're all on the same journey, just at different stages. The very truths you've come to know were once hidden from you too, and just as you awakened in your own time, so will others. Humility means honoring the sacredness of everyone's journey, no matter where they are. It means recognizing that the person who seems lost or asleep today could awaken tomorrow in ways that even you can't imagine. It means approaching others with compassion, not judgment, and seeing the divine spark in everyone, even if they can't see it in themselves. And then there's the responsibility of perseverance. The path of a chosen one is not linear. There will be times when the weight of these truths feels heavy, when you question whether you're strong enough to carry them. There will be moments of doubt, loneliness, and even despair. But these moments are not signs of failure, they're opportunities for deeper growth. When you feel lost, return to the present moment. Anchor yourself in the now, where all truth resides. Remember that you don't have to have all the answers. The path unfolds one step at a time, and your only job is to walk it with trust and integrity. Finally, the greatest responsibility of all: love. Every truth you've discovered, every realization you've had, points back to one thing: love. Not the superficial kind of love we often associate with romance or attachment, but the unconditional, infinite love that flows through all of existence. This is the essence of who you are, the essence of the universe itself. Your role as a chosen one is to embody this love in everything you do, to see it in yourself, in others, and in the world around you, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Love is not always easy, but it is always transformative. So, let me ask you one final question for this part. How can you bring more love into your life right now? Not tomorrow, not when things are perfect, but in this very moment. Because the path of a chosen one is not about waiting for the world to change, it's about being the change, here and now. A legacy of light: how chosen ones shape eternity. As a chosen one, your journey is not just about personal awakening, it's about the impact your light leaves in the world. Whether you realize it or not, every thought, word, and action you take creates ripples. These ripples extend far beyond the boundaries of your immediate life, touching hearts, inspiring minds, and shaping the collective consciousness in ways you may never see. This is your legacy, not in the form of monuments or accolades, but in the subtle, profound shifts you create in the lives of others and the energy you leave behind. But let's be clear, legacy is not about striving to be remembered. It's not about forcing yourself to make an impact or trying to control how others perceive you. In truth, your legacy is formed naturally when you live in alignment with the truths you've come to embody. It's not about what you do, it's about who you are. Think about it. Have you ever been inspired by someone, not because of their achievements, but because of the way they made you feel? Maybe it was their calm presence, their unwavering kindness, or the way they seemed to radiate wisdom without ever needing to announce it. These people leave a lasting impression, not because they tried to, but because their energy spoke louder than words. This is the kind of legacy you are destined to leave as a chosen one. Your first step in shaping your legacy is to live authentically. When you fully embrace your truth, when you stop hiding parts of yourself to fit into societal molds, you give others permission to do the same. By being unapologetically you, you become a beacon, a reminder that it's safe to step into one's own light. This is how your existence becomes a message not through grand gestures, but through the quiet power of authenticity. But authenticity alone is not enough. To leave a legacy of light, you must also cultivate love as your guiding force. Remember, love is the highest vibration, the energy that connects all things. When you act from love, even in the smallest interactions, you plant seeds that can grow in unimaginable ways. A kind word to a stranger, a moment of patience with someone who is struggling, a choice to forgive instead of holding on to resentment, these simple acts create ripples of love that can echo for generations. Now, let me ask you, what seeds are you planting in the people around you? Are your actions and words rooted in love, or are they influenced by fear or ego? This question isn't about judgment, it's about awareness. When you become conscious of the energy you're putting out into the world, you gain the power to shape it intentionally. Another way to leave a lasting legacy is by inspiring others to awaken to their own truths. As a chosen one, you have the ability to ignite the spark in others, not by preaching or teaching, but by living as an example. When people see your light, they'll begin to wonder about their own. Your courage to walk this path can be the catalyst for someone else to start their own journey. And here's the most beautiful part: you may never fully know the extent of your impact. The person you uplift today may go on to inspire countless others. The love you share in a single moment may ripple out into eternity. This is the mystery and beauty of being a chosen one. You're not just shaping the present, you're shaping the future in ways that transcend time. But let's take this even deeper. Your legacy is not limited to what you do for others. It's also about how you care for the earth and the collective energy of humanity. Every time you honor nature, every time you choose harmony over destruction, every time you align with the flow of life instead of resisting it, you contribute to the healing of the planet and the elevation of collective consciousness. So, let me ask you one final question. What do you want your energy to leave behind? When your time in this form comes to an end, what vibration will echo from your existence? This is not about perfection. It's not about always getting it right. It's about living with intention, with love, and with the understanding that your life is a thread in the infinite tapestry of existence. The choices you make today, how you love, how you serve, how you embody truth, are the threads that weave your legacy of light. Remember this: your light, no matter how small it seems, is eternal. The ripples of your existence will continue to expand, touching lives, shaping realities, and inspiring awakenings long after you're gone. This is the power of being a chosen one: to live not just for yourself, but for a purpose greater than you, leaving a legacy that resonates through eternity.